Hey, how are you guys doing? How are you guys doing? Y'all, this 10th season of this podcast has been wow. It's been on a whole nother level. Truly grateful for 10 seasons. I think we're at like 182, 83 episodes, 20 seasons episodes. So, 20 episodes a season. Truly grateful. But thank you for coming and always rocking and rolling with me here at Brian's Place. Today we are in for another treat. Today's special guest, man, when me and him we go way back. Brother from another mother, got the same heavenly Father. I just love his heart, love his mind, his spirit. He's just like a real good to earth brother. It's like truly grateful. For him, his family, and just all grateful to see all God is doing in him and through him. So, without further ado, please welcome the one and only Brandon Haskins.
I like that, man. Brother from another, always for sure.
Yes, yes,
Always for sure, man. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
definitely. Always grateful to have you on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. All's well with you, Brian. You doing all right today, man?
Yeah, been good. Had to break out the sweater.
Yeah. It's so hot in the South, man. I had to put a tee on. I had to put a T-shirt on and the
Yeah,
non-perspirationals. I had to make sure I'm
you're right.
ready. It's always hot out here for no reason. It's humid heat. It's humid.
Humidity, not that's not regular heat. That's like heat,
Yeah,
and then some.
you can't hide from it. So like
Yeah,
you're in the shade and it's still hot. It's like an oven everywhere you go. But
yeah.
I appreciate the opportunity, man. Staying connected with you and love what you're doing, man. Good work on Brian's Place. Always a good thing.
I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Just a example of what happens when you give God your yes.
Oh yes, absolutely, man. Take you on. I love looking back and realizing like, man, like, would you imagine yourself in this place a year ago, right? Like you don't know where
Yeah,
things
yeah,
would take you or God would take you in your life. You just gotta just open up and just let them take lead, man. And it is
yeah, man.
phenomenal changes, phenomenal things can happen. So you're right. You're right.
Truly grateful for that.
Yes, sir.
First thing I want to mention a while ago, Bishop T.D. Jakes wrote a book called Don't Drop the Mic.
Mm.
And when I hear those words, I think about, how, in today's culture, when like someone says something that's like off the charts, they say it and then just drop the mic and walk off stage. But like when I think about don't drop the mic, it's about not only saying something important, but making sure you're passing the mic, which represents the baton, onto onto the next generation,
Oh, wow.
because they need the mic handed to them so they can carry it well. It's like Moses. Moses did a great job with the mic, but it was time he had to pass it on to Joshua. And if he had dropped the mic, it's like, what about the next generation? So when you think about that, what like comes to your mind? Like,
Man, Brian, that's good. That's good, man. That's a good way to kick it off right there. That's a twofold one for me, man, because my career path, I feel like Batman. I feel
yeah,
like I had the Bruce Wayne life and the cape and cowl. And so in my Bruce Wayne life as a father, that's the legacy, And I think what I'm learning to do with my children is instead of being so direct and just saying do it this way, I feel like everything requires a process and a phase.
yeah,
You got to be patient with them as you kind of phase them into their legacy. And if you really
yeah,
want a legacy, you got to treat it like a plant. You got to water it, got to till to it, and tend to it
mm,
the right way. And that's where I'm seeing a lot of opportunities to kind of give them mentoring and guidance through
yeah,
business, guidance through academics, guidance through life and through faith,
yeah,
modeling marriage. But then the other side of it is my job in education. It's the same thing. That's when I'm Batman, and having these young people, what got me to where I in my career right now. I've had a phenomenal year in my career this year. Um, a lot of it came from the mentoring programs through like my student council programs and through my special education, through my self-contained, giving these young people understanding their strengths, understanding their strengths and their challenges, and really working with them on it, giving them a voice, making them stakeholders into their growth and their progress. So that makes all the sense. It pretty much finding a way to tailor them to their strengths and not dropping the mic is right. You got to pass it down. I think a lot of times we have habits in our culture, habits in our society, in our community,
Mm-hmm.
where you got to get it for yourself type feel. And we can't complain that these young people don't have work ethic or the skills to do it, and not actually show them how to do it.
That's so true.
That's kind of where I take that. Don't pass the mic. I like that a lot. Passing the mantle over, man.
Yeah. And that's so important. Like it's one thing to run a race and to be like cross the finish line, be like, oh yeah, I won. But then if your teammates who you're supposed to pass the baton to are standing there like, what about us? You never and it takes as any championship team, it takes a team to win a championship. You can have the greatest quarterback in the world, but if you don't have anyone to catch the ball, then what
Mm-hmm.
team is important. And speaking of legacy, we were just talking before we went live about the poor and the effect that you have with your kids, which I think is like really great and so awesome, and how it's expanded. Would you mind? Could you share more about that?
Yeah, man. My children. I have two generations of kids, four kids, two generations. I have my first gen, which is like my 17 and my 14-year-old, and they were the ones that were born in the midst of mom and dad um, learning to be parents. They're the ones that got to learn. They got to see us in the tight spots, the rough spots, the battles, the fights, the grinding. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and the second half, my second gens are my babies, my spoiled brats, the ones that walk right into it. Oh, they see Disney World like, oh, that's what we do all the time. Like, no, this was a journey to get to Disney.
Yeah, yeah.
This next phase. And so what I'm finding with my first gen is I've learned to stop trying to correct my mistakes.
Mm.
I'm not saying I was a bad father. I'm a great father, but I'm learning to stop trying to go back and fix and set them up for what's next. Um, if I can derail for a second, I feel like parenting doesn't begin until they become 18 and beyond. I think
Wow. Yeah.
a lot of us look at parenting as K to 12, and that's not parenting. That's
Mm.
training camp. That is the preseason and the exhibition. They're in your home. You're training them up to be what they need to be. Then when they turn 18 and they have the opportunity to go out to themselves, now they're
Yeah.
on the field. Now you're on the sideline coaching them from
That's
a
good.
and
That's
now
good.
you're actually playing the game. So right now we are in week 4 of the preseason, and
Okay.
one is about to head out and go into the adult life,
Yeah.
and my other ones is going to go into high school.
Yeah.
So we're in the work ethic of understanding business, understanding the value of education, not to get good grades. No one cares about A's and B's.
Yeah.
What are you taking, and how's that applied to life, and how do you apply these skills to being successful? So that's some of the things I kind of realized with my first gen. My second gen is about setting them up for success right now, the basics, gross fine motor skills, reading
Yeah.
abilities,
Yeah.
manners. But right now, I'm learning a lot about myself as I prepare my oldest for the real world, for adulthood. You know?
Yeah. I think that's good because like what good is winning in life and winning in every area, if you're not winning at home.
Yeah,
Winning
absolutely.
at home is essential.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, all these other areas, work and different things could be great, but if you're not like winning at home, it like what good is
Was just
everything else?
exactly, and that's what I'm learning too. I spend a lot of patience with my students. I'm
Yeah,
very patient with my coworkers. I'm very patient. Not saying that they get on my nerves, but like you demonstrate a lot of
yeah,
circumstances. I go to the same work environment with these individuals, these colleagues of mine, and we learn to get along in this work environment in a professional setting. Why can't I apply those same boundaries, those same that same temperament with my own children? So we go to work and we listen to our boss, and we pander to that. Then we come home and our kids get no time, our kids get no attention. we have to have that balance. If you can demonstrate it here, where you're making your money, you should be doing this where you're making your legacy, which is more
Yeah.
important than anything, you know. So
Yeah.
I'm right there with you, brother. Right there with you.
That's good. Do you feel that um, time with your kids at home prepares you for being with the kids at work, or vice versa, or both?
Both, both.
Yeah.
Um, I know so much about trends because the kids at my school, I know all about these little silly little terms they use and stuff.
Yeah.
And um, it's funny because sometimes I'll go to work at my old environments where I had more of a hostile population of students, a more challenging and traumatized
Hmm.
uh, um, demographic. I would come home so paranoid that
Wow.
my kids were going to end up like those kids. Don't do drugs. And I would hyper
Yeah.
focus. I realized I started unpacking things, man. I realized a lot of the young people that were traumatized and dealing with those challenges, they didn't have the family structure. That was the root of it.
Yeah.
And so I would come home and I would just create a healthy environment. Instead of trying to control everything, I would facilitate it. Instead of coming home and trying to be the king, who is also the general, who's also the jester, who's
Yeah.
also, I became a facilitator of my kingdom. And me and
That's
my wife
so.
were able to create an environment where people could thrive. And that helped my children. So I learn as a parent, I learn as a teacher. That's my advantage. That is my sweet spot. Not everybody has that balance in life. Not everybody
Mhm.
works in the field of social work where you deal with people in
Mhm.
psychology and you come home and can apply it to your life and vice versa. So
Yeah.
I take that as my advantage and I make the most of it. So yeah, I mean the kids at my job, I'll learn things as kind of as I transfer myself as a parent. My kids are at school the same way they're talking to me as a
Yeah.
teacher. My kids are doing that to somebody else. So what would I want my kids hearing feedback teachers? How would you want to interpret the things that they're telling you about their home life? You know, because being a
Mhm.
teacher is so much beyond the classroom. It's about the personal interactions you have with these young people, the kids that are
Yeah.
bullied, the social, emotional component to it. And I just
Yeah.
apply it to my life. So I just find a lot of balance. I'm constantly growing, lifelong
Mhm.
learner academically,
Yeah.
learner psychologically as a parent as well. You know,
Yeah.
it's a lot.
That's good. And there's a lot of a lot of kids are dealing with trauma. Me and a good friend of mine, Boomer Bennett, we used to have a ministry outside of the church. We would stop and pray with kids, as like junior high, high school students, as they were walking home from school. It was right. Yeah, it was actually during the pandemic back in 2020, and a lot of their prayer requests um, was that was for their home. A lot of times they would be able to escape to, I don't know, the mall or different places, but during the pandemic, everything was shut down. So now the thing that they would normally be able to escape from and run from, they had to like
Yeah,
deal with, and that was a lot of their prayer requests. And so it's like uh, it's like, man, it reminds me of a while back. Yolanda Adams had this song called "What About the Children?" Like it,
yeah, 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 yeah. Oh
yeah,
yeah, oh yeah. COVID was COVID impacted a lot of people differently. It impacted everybody differently.
yeah,
The young people especially. That's why there's such a hyper focus in education now for social emotional learning, and they call it SEL, social emotional learning. But that's something as a special ed teacher. It's so funny because as a special ed teacher, I remember when I started going to my program for my credential, and somebody told me this is the new thing. This is where she goes. In my opinion, every kid at some point will have an IEP. And I was like, really? She goes, yeah, because it's 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 unpacking the, as everything in the world affects everything. It's a domino
mhm,
effect.
yeah,
And so as economy stresses and strain on households, households are stressed and strained, the kids are stressed and strained, the education gets stressed and strained. And then as the world is constantly adapting with AI now, that's the new thing at post
yeah,
COVID is AI. You have all these different factors. And she's like, being able to understand behaviors, understanding social emotional and accommodating and innovating that, and not innovating, um, intervening interventions and stuff like that. She's like, that's gonna be the new way of doing education. So here comes COVID, smashes into everything, and now we come out, and the most equipped people for this skill set are the special ed teachers, because we've been modifying and dealing with so many things. Education under the shell of social emotional. A kid comes to
Yeah.
class, heads down. Well, why's your head down? You know, he was going through some stuff at home. Parents, he didn't go. He had to travel. Okay, I'll give you an example. I had a student that was living in a hotel, a motel, and his mom would sell all their stuff, sold his video games. I mean, they lived
Mm.
3 kids deep
Wow.
in a
Yeah.
hotel, and people live
Yeah.
like this all over the place. But he comes to school, smelly, clothes are dirty. The kids are giving him a hard time because kids are just terrible. Kids are
Yeah.
cruel, man. They could be the worst.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're taking pictures of him. They're teasing him. All these things would happen to him. Not under my watch though. Just when he comes to my
Yeah.
class, and I would I had to address that in order to teach him to read and write stories that have triggering effects, math stories that have triggering effects, social studies and history that his parents talk about because they have their political views, whatever, that have triggering effects. You have all these elements that surround this young man. And while the school's hammering him with consequences, hammering him with, oh, you're not listening, you're not this and that,
Wow.
you got to unpack the child, the whole child.
Mhm.
So COVID did that to almost everybody, and now we're unpacking so many emotional pieces to the human experience that it's wild, man. It's a new era. It's definitely a new era, man.
Yeah. Wow. That's a trip. Um, a while ago, I wrote a play called "When Real Men Cry," and and excuse me. And in the play, just a short synopsis: the boy is living with his mom, and things are going good, but he starts being real disrespectful. The mom sends him to live with his dad, and at first everything's fine, but then the dad starts being real verbally abusive to the point where the boy can't take it anymore, and he makes up with his mom and goes back to live with his mom, and purposely loses touch with his dad for like 5 years. And so 5 years later, the boy, who's now a young man, bumps into his dad at his aunt's funeral. And by this time, he's a young man, so he has enough confidence and boldness to confront his dad. Like, how come he always treated him the way he did? And at this point, the dad starts crying and breaking down, and shares that because the only father he knew was a drill sergeant in the Marines, and you know how they could be. So at this point, both the son and the dad they break down and start crying, and they begin to mend their relationship. And then the play ends with the dad standing on the front row of the son's wedding.
Mm.
And unfortunately, a lot of times, especially as little, boys, they're, told to suck it up. Boys don't cry, boys don't cry, and so they grow up with this mentality of sucking it up, hiding their feelings, and then they get into relationship when they're older, and you hear from a lot of women, oh, he doesn't express himself, he's not showing his true feelings. Well, all his life he's been told to suck it up, so now it's going to take some time to like an onion, to peel back the layers and to like really,
Absolutely, absolutely. Huh. I think we're learning. It's funny you said, because I have a close friend of mine who deals with their child, similar to that, to where they believe that the kid needs to suck it up and just get stronger. And it's funny how time flies, how times change and people adapt. In the gym, we've learned that lifting heavy weights and a lot of muscles does not equate to strength as compared to calisthenics, yoga, and strength training. So you
hmm
can have a person that's a buck 80, max is about 250, whatever, 200, but
yeah,
has a lot more durability and strength to manage something through their flexibility and their whole body experience than somebody who's 240 and can bench press 400 pounds
yeah,
because cardio and whatnot. same thing we're learning in life is about emotional intelligence and learning about how to adapt to circumstances, understanding your self worth, understanding your yourself,
Mhm.
understanding what depression looks like, what trauma looks like. That everyone experience some form of it, and
Yeah.
in our community, along with our gender, I think there is a massive there's a wave of change happening, man. I think we are finding that some men um, are keying into these things. Our
Mhm.
community does lack in the father, the households with fathers.
Yeah.
Um, we do lack in the area of married men and married women. Um, I think what we're starting to find though is that the suck it up mentality is an ineffective method. It just creates
Mhm.
more grievances of a world that is long gone now. And men who are sensitive, men who can cry, men who can identify their emotions, they're starting to find themselves to be the ones that are truly strong. The
Yeah.
men who can endure because marriage, business, jobs, education, life requires stamina and real strength.
Yeah.
Strength that comes from within, not just I make a lot of money, Andrew Tate. I make a lot of money. I can tell them what to do because I'm sexy and I'm strong. That is a dying method. Now it might have its little pop for now in the society, but I think over time we're going to find that more men who are able to identify feelings and demonstrate emotional intelligence is what's going to be more effective in our society and can help our families more. My son needs to see me fail. He needs to see me apologize. He needs to see me hold myself accountable. That if I lose my temper, that I can apologize. If I lose my cool, I can hold
Mhm.
myself accountable. I can come to him and say, "Hey, man, we had our little debate there. I was out of line when I did this, and I'm wrong for that." And
Yeah.
that demonstration is what a lot of men lack. They think that they have to be in control, like a silverback gorilla.
Yeah.
That's that will make your the silverback gorilla that'll make you extinct because it just
Yeah.
creates tension, more trauma, and it locks in emotion, which can make you a better person overall. And we know
Yeah.
this studies and everything.
That's true, and that's real good. And you mentioned marriage, and as we
Yes, sir.
dive into the topic of marriage, as far as a lot of times men go into marriage thinking it's about dominating, but dominating doesn't always equate to to leading. You could walk in your house like, oh, but it's like,
Yeah,
where's leading?
yeah. Leading. We went through the book of a church. My pastor went through the book of I want to say Galatians. Galatians. Yes, Galatians. And as he's going through it, he was talking about the different roles of the household. And I
Yeah,
always told my wife, I always told my sidebar, I always told my wife, I said, you have all the power. Because in reality, if you think about a
yeah,
kingdom was like that. Remember the time video of Michael Jackson, Eddie
yeah,
Murphy?
yeah,
The king was in position to make his queen happy. And people would come to the throne as the king would give them permission. And as they would perform, he looked at his queen and she was like, eh, he's like, go away, you're done.
yeah, yeah.
Right? Until Michael rolled up. Until
Come on.
Michael rolled up, do you remember? And she was like, I can't get enough of that. He was like, get him out of here. And he's turning the dust and stuff. I said, that long haired dude. Yeah,
Yes,
man, he's good.
he was good at. He was good at. Yes.
Yeah, I can't get enough of that guy. Okay, Mike. And he kissed her too. Like that's it. That's infidelity. But anyways, we ain't gonna get to Michael. But no, and so in the world of these methods, I feel like the queen is the strength,
Yeah,
and real men understand the value of pleasing the queen. I always felt like that was an interesting dynamic, you know.
yeah. That's so good.
But yeah, so
Um,
marriage is in a
yeah,
way that it's. I'm sorry, my pastor was talking about Galatians and our roles and how what men truly should do, and not necessarily control their household, but in a method of persuasion by example, persuasion by efficient execution of their task, would draw the woman to be in agreement and draw the woman to be in agreement. The women have their choice to be, um, you know, with that man or not, whatever. It's not about a forceful marriage,
Yeah.
but the man has a job to do as the woman has a job to do. They're equal, but just in different roles, in different positions.
Mm.
And I thought that was really fascinating because I felt like, Emery, that is exactly what we do. Like, you want the nice house, I'm gonna go work and get the nice house. You
Yeah.
want the nice car, I'm gonna work and get the nice car. We're gonna be in this cohesive place where I have a strong voice, but you have the nurturing touch. And we work
Yeah.
cohesively. We talk and we counsel with one another of how to go about it. So, in the roles of household and marriages, um, based on what the goal of the marriage is, if it is to reproduce, have children, or if it's for companionship, everyone has a different role to play, and it's equal in value. Just some play quarterback, some play wide receiver. We
Right.
all have different positions to play.
Yeah. We got to be able to work together as a team.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
I've seen I've seen blooper videos of football team and the guy he's running towards the wrong end zone. He gets there and starts celebrating. And everyone's like, "Come on, bro! Come on, man!"
Do your job. Do your job. Do your job. That
Yeah,
is true, man. And everybody can't play quarterback. I used to coach my son's YMCA team, and everybody want to be quarterback, and everybody want to be wide receiver. I said,
yeah,
someone has to play line.
yeah.
Someone
Someone's got block. Yeah,
Someone's got a block, man. It ain't the cool position that everyone's bragging about, but without an O line, there's no quarterback. No quarterback, there are no receivers, and the
yeah,
defense work. Like, everyone has to play their position, and I think that's what's hard about society now too.
mm,
In a society that leans away from God, more importantly, a society that leans away from righteousness, holiness, you find that roles are diminished to what people feel, individuality, and you have a lot of selfish players on the team. And that's where I think a lot of marriages break down so easily because I'm not satisfied. Well, when you get married, you should probably read the fine print of
yeah,
what is being said by that minister and
yeah,
what is ordained by God. Because there are positions to play, and
yeah,
we have to do these roles correctly, man, or things fall apart. And now, I'm not saying men can't work from home and women can't have the the advantage in the finances, and the woman's making the money, the man's at home. That's not, we all have roles to play. That's all.
yeah,
I don't think it has anything to do with finances. I think it has more to do with just our roles as men and women in the household.
yeah. And it's like, when you get married, you've been you all your life, and so now you're becoming, someone else. And a lot of people decorate and dress up the altar, but like in the Bible, the altar symbolized a place of death. It's where you're who you were. It has to die so there could you could come together and be one. So it's like it's a place of death. And like not to make, of course, not to make it sound gruesome, but in a sense, every day we have to die. Not only our submit our will to God's, but even to our spouse. It's a daily thing of making sure that we're putting our spouse first. And even in those times when we slip up, because we are human and forget to do something or something, like just coming back, like okay, you need your grace, Lord, and coming back stronger.
And if anybody knows, from the last time we talked, I told you, you need to watch your metaphors, man, because we'll go on a 35-minute tangent on these metaphors, because we can talk about that. Brian, you're
Yeah,
right. And the altar is a place of death. I think what people get so caught up in, I remember one of the deacons at my church was going in on us at a youth group, and he said, ignorant is not a bad word. We're all like, huh? He's like, we're like 12, 13-year-old kids. We're like, ignorant is just, has a negative connotation, just means you don't know. I was like,
well,
that's fair, but like, calm down.
yeah, yeah,
I know you know the brother with all the muscles. He's just, ignorance not a bad thing. I was like, okay, I'm
yeah,
gonna tell my dad what you said, and that's not nice. What I'm saying is, death sometimes has such a negative connotation to it, but death is also a part of the life cycle.
yeah,
And shout out to my lawn care company. Death is also what allows compost to provide nutrient to um, plants to grow even stronger. So
Wow.
when you get compost, you're getting the dead leaves, you're getting the dead plants, the dead things that are kind of decomposing.
Yeah.
Put those decomposing things in the dirt, and you plant something on top of that. In fact, you put the compost, then the soil, then you plant the seed, and it actually helps it grow further and stronger because it pulls from that decaying those nutrients.
Yeah.
And so when you say death, you're like, oh, I died. No, it's like you take that old self and you shed it like leaves. You shed it
Yeah.
like compost. You put it down on the floor at the root of the altar. Let God be the soil that sits on top of what it was to restructure what it does. So when you plant your seed of your marriage, plant the seed of your child being born, plant the seed of your business, any endeavor God has for you, it can now grow fully because you've submitted. You allow
Mm.
him to to nurture and to
Yeah.
strengthen it, and now it can come up and really reach its full potential. And so in
Yeah.
marriage, this is it. You have to submit and die to your old self. Let God sit on top of that, restructure it, plant the seed within that, and then your marriage will grow, your business can grow, your children can grow, and all your full potentials can really be met in those
Yeah.
moments. So I love that, man. Watch out. That's metaphor. That's your first warning. That's your first warning, Brian. You have some questions. You stay on topic now because we'll be talking. What, brother? The
Yeah.
word. We're just talking about everything, man. We're talking
Oh,
about the
that's good.
answers.
Right. Right.
I'll
That's
tell you.
good. It's true. And as you're talking, I was thinking how of course, bachelor parties and are all good and everything, but a bachelor party should real be like the last checkpoint. It's like how when you're at the airport, you go
Yeah,
through the checkpoint, the security TSA to make sure. Are you sure you don't have anything that could
yeah,
hinder where you're trying to go? And maybe knowingly or unknowingly, we may be carrying something with us that could hinder us from where we're trying to go. And it's like that night before, it's like that should really be like checkpoint. Like, okay, this is the final stop.
yeah. Now, look. I'm not going to ask you what your bachelor party was. No, no, no. I don't want to call you out.
You're funny.
Okay, no, I'm teasing you. But from my bachelor party was non-existent because we at the time my marriage at the time we were in like a I feel like the way I describe it, we're like in a hostage situation, but we were kind of like we were all we needed at the time.
Yeah,
But like I said, I think a lot of people have hijacked the bachelor party to create the problems that poison the well, like
yeah,
separate in the bloodstream of a marriage. You do
yeah,
things that are unspoken of. You do things that are not becoming of you. You add all these things and elements that when you go into your marriage, I got that out of my system. It's like, no, you ain't got to get out your system.
yeah,
You need to, like you said, flush the system so you're prepared the next day or the next
yeah,
event for your wedding and for your marriage. But that's funny, Brian, because like, yeah, a lot of people love the idea of the bachelor party, wilding out. I
yeah,
don't, I never understood it.
yeah,
I never got that. I mean, I didn't want that. My
yeah,
friends, my
yeah,
people, when I was getting married, they're like, "Hey, we'll see you tomorrow at the wedding." I didn't do a bachelor party.
yeah,
We just had a dinner. But that's I know what you mean, man. Let's get some counsel first. While
yeah.
at the club, I
That's
that
yeah.
semi, you
That's
know,
a big thing, to
every
do.
thing, brother.
Yeah. And on that note, you're talking about gardening and how trees and the compost. And what I was thinking, like even leaves on the tree, if in regards to death. Imagine if, no leaf ever died. If the tree just tried to hang on it would actually hinder new
Yeah,
leaves from coming because it tried to hold on to something that was good for a season, but now that season has passed. Moses,
yeah,
my servant, is now dead. You know, But if people still try to grab and cling to the old, it doesn't allow room for the new. So death is essential, and for new to come, for the new leaves to come. The tree has to, be able to will to let go of what it once held on to for new things, and even in marriage, it definitely requires a new mindset, a new mentality. Who we were 5 years ago was great for 5 years ago, but now in 2025, it requires a new version of ourselves. Gotta level up.
Yeah.
Imagine playing imagine playing a game of Mario Brothers and you never level up. You just keep.
Yeah. Yeah, you're more susceptible to die. Gotta get a little bigger with a little some fireballs.
Right.
You're right. This is your second warning on metaphors, Brian. You're gonna do it again, but you're right because a lot of times your trees will hear the lawn care professional, but no, like your trees will be hindered in growth if you don't cut those twines that are hindering their ability to see the sun to get
Yeah.
that photosynthesis going. You got to trim those branches out so they can fully extend and grow, and
Yeah.
you'll know what trees are able to adapt um, and use those trimmings to grow by the
Yeah.
winding of the trunk and how many years have really expanded and created a thick, strong foundation. And as
Yeah.
you see it day to day, this is a really good metaphor you put in there. You don't see it day to day, but trees are constantly growing. And if you look at it every single day, you won't see the growth because you'll never see the comparisons. But you kind of look away for some time and you check the trunk of a tree, it will expand and become thick. And that's what happens. It's like when you're in marriage, if you're constantly checking, is she making progress? Is she doing this? No, if you
Yeah.
naturally are trimming away self, trimming away those things of you that are old. There's some things I used to do when I was 20. I used to do when I was 25, at
Mhm.
30 even, and even 35, that as a
Yeah.
father now at 41, I no longer need to do.
Yeah.
I trimmed away from my tree, and I can see myself as a better version of myself in this
Mm.
chapter of my life. And if you look at my wife and I's marriage, our 18-year tree trunk is such a
Wow.
strong foundation. If we have a debate or argument, it's so funny sometimes. We'll fuss at each other, and I'll look at her. She looks at me, and I go, "I ain't going nowhere." And she's like, "I know, and I ain't going nowhere either." I'm like, "Yeah, it's like we've learned that we can
Yeah.
have
That's
different
beautiful.
disagreement and not
Yeah.
have to pick up and leave. It's just a matter of we disagree right now. We'll figure it out. Unbreakable. Like we'll
Yeah.
figure it out. It's gonna take a
That's good.
massive storm to uproot this thing, and
Yeah. Amen.
ain't nothing moving this tree, brother. It's too deep in the floor. It's too deep in.
Yeah.
It's too rooted. But rooted in God. Going back to that soil, brother. Going back to the soil. See,
That's
we go full circle with it. Going full circle
come
with
on.
it. You know what I'm saying?
That's it. That's it. But yeah, growth is essential. If even in the natural realm, hopefully most people don't still have the same set of teeth they had at 3 years old. It's like, at some point, at some point.
So, now, see, another thing you did last time is you threw a little sneak diss out there. You try to get me on the controversial statement. You're gonna make me talk about them baby teeth people, got them small teeth. I ain't doing it, Brian. They you try to pull me in with you. I ain't don't hashtag me on that. But I
No,
know
I'll be waiting outside your house like,
try to take a bite of a sandwich and everything falls right out. It ain't right. It ain't right. Can't, that's terrible. Last time we talked about like fingernails or something. We were talking about somebody. I go back and look again, but we were just talking about people. I was like, oh, it was like toes or something. Talking about toes. I was like, see, people have bad toes when we talk about me online because of this guy. So the baby teeth people, I got nothing to do with this. That's
ah.
Brian. Brand has nothing to do with the baby teeth. I love baby teeth. I stand by my baby teeth people. You see what I'm saying? Disclaimer.
Put that disclaimer out there. I got
Little
you.
blurb at the bottom right here. Brand does not agree with these statements about baby teeth. Go get your veneers and be happy with yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Right?
Get
Wow,
them super straights. Go ahead, and get them super straight teeth in your mouth. But no, man,
that's good.
you're right. You got to shed it. It's got to shed, man. It's wild. Out here in the South was really fascinating too. We got fire ants, bro. Like we got these fire ants. They're just the most brutal things. And so I was getting my lawn treated, and the guy was like, "Well, fire ants are everywhere." He goes, "But when the soil is bad, it may present well, but if you continue to fertilize, it's fine. But if it's not treated the right way, the queen will just find a new like ant a hill, and it will just grow and fester, and it was creme this nasty hill of destruction. And I think about that too, that if your soil is not grounding God, man, the things that seem natural and seem to be properly addressed, they're not addressed. If the soil is not founded in the right piece and the right nutrients, you can find yourself infested with fire ants and all types of pests that can keep things from growing. And it might look like plants, it might look like beautiful flowers, but the weeds are attracting mosquitoes and gnats and
Yeah,
all kinds of critters. So you got to be careful to make sure what you're doing with your marriage and what you're doing, not you, but in general, right? What people do with their marriages, what people do with the relationships are grounded in the right faith, the nutritious faith, the faith that
yeah,
is truly fit to grow in. Because yeah, you got
yeah,
to show some things. But you're right. I like going back 2 chapters, man. You talked about the leaves not leaving. I like that because yeah, things are good for a season, and seasons don't have to be 3 month pan out. No, like
yeah,
for real, like a season could be a 5 year season, a one
yeah,
year season. Right now, me and my wife are in a season where things are very prosperous, things are growing. God is blessing us,
mhm,
and this season's been lasting for a while now. And we are doing the most harvesting we can of this season to prepare for the next season.
yeah,
Because it might be spring into summer, it could be
yeah,
summer to fall, it could be fall into winter, and you just
yeah.
got to prepare for all seasons at all times, man. So
That's true. Because imagine, still trying to put on a jacket from when you were 6 years old. It was great then. It did served its purpose, but now, you know, 40, 20 something years later, it's like, no, you gotta
yeah,
be
man,
able to
that's
discern the times and seasons.
Brian. That's nice because there's two ways to look at that too. You can say it's not the right season because you've outgrown it, or it's not properly utilized. One thing we get out here is we get all 4 seasons. You cannot wear sweats and sweaters in the summer out here. Like I
Yeah,
used to wear sweaters in the summertime in Cali. I put some pants on with a sweater and a
yeah,
hat. I'd be layered out in the summer, walking like, yeah, I got a black sweater on in 100-degree weather. It's a different type of heat. Out here,
yeah,
man, you better have them dry fit shirts that just like Under Armour shirts on, with some
yeah.
shorts, some flip flops, some Crocs. Because
That's
if you don't wear the right gear, man, you can set yourself up. Heat
yeah,
exhaustion, get 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 a cold. Yeah, man, you gotta be prepared for the right season, man. So,
yeah,
it, and I was saying, it reminds me of how people talk about the armor of God.
yeah,
And putting on the right things, the right garbs, the right protective gear for any
mm,
battle, knowing what those things also do. you
yeah,
know so knowing
yeah,
that a sweater keeps you warm, but in this climate it might have to be a different type of sweater, a different
yeah.
type of fit. But preparing yourself for every season, put on the right tools.
That's so good. And like, it's also important to, was to have the right soil, because you could have the right seed, but if you don't have the right soil for the seed, then it's like, so make sure where you are sowing, where you are, what you are planting in is strong, and that's why it's so important to be rooted and grounded in God and in His Word, so that like a palm tree, in Florida, it may bend to the left and bend to the right, but after it's all said and done, it's still standing.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Very nice. Very nice. Oh yeah. I feel like I'm a redwood. I feel like I would say I'm more like an oak. I'm probably an oak, man, because and I mean it too. One thing at Hurricane Helene, I mean, God is God understands that we are all visual learners in a way, And I think there's so many metaphors in the world we live in because in the Bible and Psalms, especially in the prophets and more of like the poetry in the Bible, the books of poetry in the Bible, there's a lot of metaphors and comparisons to land and to the heavens. And I just think about that kind of stuff, man. But yeah, bro, I just yeah, you got me thinking, man. You got me thinking deep. You got me thinking, bro. Like for real, like that's yeah. God works in mysterious ways, brother. He really does.
Yeah, he
He really.
does.
Mm,
When when you think about carrying a mantle or being entrusted with a mantle,
mm,
I believe it's so important to not just be able to be like receive a mantle, but especially for us as men and husbands, like be like, Lord, teach me how to handle the mantle well. Teach me how to manage it well, because like I think the guy's name was Isaiah or Ezra or something, but they were marching, and it says they were carrying the Ark of the Covenant, and there was a pebble in the road or something, or his shoe was untied or something, and someone tripped or something, and he saw that the Ark of the Covenant was about to hit the ground and fall, and so he reached out with good intentions to save it, but his intentions, like the law, was not to touch it. So
mm,
God struck him down, even though his intentions were good. But so that's why I think, in the same context, like our prayer has to continually be, the mantle for manhood, the mantle for marriage, that we not just can receive it, but like really learn how to hold it, how to carry it, how to steward it, how to manage it well.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, man. It's a heavy responsibility in marriage. As a father, I can speak on that. As a father, that it's a tough burden. I mean, you might think about, oh, like if LeBron James had to think about how to explain to people how he made free throws and how he made so many shots so easy, something that comes so naturally to him. To unpack that might take a lot of energy for him to go, well, I never really thought about that way. I think as a
Yeah,
father, I don't really think about the amount of stress and strain. There are four little individuals in here, or actually two big ones and two small ones, along my wife, five people that really rely on my consistency, rely on my state of mind, my health to keep this thing going. And a mantle is an added, not an added pressure, but just an added responsibility to this family, that there is a legacy that is defined. It's almost like as one thing that's unwritten in marriage when your kids are born. Someone should come to you and say, "Hey, you might want to write your mission statement for your family. Like, what's your
yeah,
mission statement for your family?" And as time goes on, you start to adapt what the legacy will be defined as in this family. As Haskins, we will always do what, we will stand by what, and so when you do that type of stuff, you can't just say it and not live it. If you
yeah,
say we're a house of God fearing people, and then I'm
yeah,
not living that life, the mantle doesn't have any value. The mantle's not worth carrying. If
yeah,
I'm a man who says this is a marriage that's about faithfulness and I'm beating my wife, I'm cheating on my wife, I'm deceiving my family, that mantle loses so much purpose that they discard it and find their own mantle, and God knows what that could be. And so it is passing down the mantle to my children of who we are as people in God, who we are as people as a family. It's very important. I protect it very passionately. I protect it fervently, that they know that nothing comes into this family and intercepts the purpose, which is being a family of God, being a family that is driven by our faith in Jesus Christ, our faith in the Christian pillars of faith and what we do. And it's important. It's tough to like I said, I'm preparing them for the world, and I'm trying to give them all the tools. I am giving them all the tools necessary, so when they are their own fathers and mothers and spouses, that they carry that mantle into their family and carry on the
mm,
legacy what we stand for, and merge it with the other family as you should, but that it's also they're finding a wife or a husband that is in agreement with those things. So a
Yeah.
mantle is it's like a brand, right? It's a
Yeah.
brand. And as you pass on this brand, like I'm an Eagles fan. The same logo we had when I was a kid, the Kelly Green Bird, is not the same logo today, but it means the same thing. It's
Yeah.
adapted to the new customer and clientele they bring in. They
Yeah.
adapt to the new generation of fans, but it's still the same
The same.
underdog spirit of the Philadelphia Eagles. And so
Yeah.
when I pass on the Haskins lineage and mantle to my son and my children, um, you know, update it for the times, but keep it grounded in what it's all about. You know?
Love that. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
That's so good.
Thank you,
And
thank you.
that's good. In First Samuel chapter 30, there's, I'm sure you're familiar with it, the story of how David, he was out at battle and he came back, and his wives his wife and families and everyone's wife and family had been taken captive, and at the end, it says, of course he went on to consult God, and God blessed him to recover all. But there's a point in there where it says, David encouraged himself in the Lord his God. It doesn't say he found encouragement in a bottle or in a woman, but he found encouragement in the Lord his God. And so, in that same spirit, I want to say, Brandon encourages himself in the Lord his God. Brian, encourage myself in the Lord his God. And so I'm grateful that no matter what we may face, like, we are able to find strength, find hope, find that encouragement in the Lord, in the Lord our God. And so, definitely grateful for that. And of course, grateful for awesome spiritual family, awesome brothers in Christ like you, and it's amazing. I'm grateful.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you. I'm glad that over time, um, our friendship has evolved into a brotherhood to where we've been brothers for some time. It ain't just some recent thing. Oh, you're my brother now. You've been my brother for years, man. For years. I mean,
Yeah,
after the first 2 weeks, I was like, "This is my guy, right? This is my boy." But from the beginning of time, man, and it's evolved, and I do appreciate that blessing and that word of encouragement that we do find strength in God. And I tell this to my kids all the time. We do our devotionals. I'm like, we all find a different type of diet for our faith. We treat our
yeah,
faith like a diet based on our age in our faith.
mm-hmm.
So when you're a baby in Christ, you tend to sip on the milk. You tend to sip on the Gerber chewable mush food. It's very easy to digest, the Psalms,
Yeah,
the heavy scriptures. I said, then when you turn into a teenager, you start to define your own palette. You start to read the word and find the scriptures to have a different meaning to you in your own personal walk
mm-hmm.
as a teenager in Christ. As a young adult in Christ, you now stand more independently. You start to find those books, those chapters, those stories that truly connect to your walk with God. And as you
Mm-hmm.
find yourself as an adult in Christ, that you find that you have to start eating your peas. You have to start
Yeah,
eating those nutrients that are not so tasty going down, but
sorry,
they
good
need
for
those
you.
vegetables. I need to read Leviticus. I need to read Lamentations. I need
Yeah,
to be convicted in Philemon. I need to have these different takes on my faith. So in that, finding comfort in Christ, I lean on it like I lean on that diet. I know that I'm constantly in his care, but it came with a lot of stripes, a lot of scars, a lot of battles to know that through all that fire and all that toughness and all the things we went through in life, he stands beside me always in my
yeah,
family. So I love that, man, because I'll always find my strength in Christ, and it's not as animated as it once was when I was a kid, where I had to be at the altar on my knees and lamenting. But it's now an everyday experience throughout
yeah,
the day, it's embedded and threaded through my being. And I thank God for that journey that I've been on with Him and been on in my faith, to where there's no swaying it, man. There used to be a time when I was a kid, just like in a teenage diet, your friends might be eating something across the table from you, and you're like, "Oh, I don't really, I'm not into that kind of stuff, I don't know." And now as an adult, I'm willing to understand things better. Meaning, like, I my faith is so grounded now that it's not as easy as being with people that don't have faith and are not of the faith, and being able to persuade me or make me think some kind of way. It's like, no, man, I'm so stuck in this. I'm
Yeah.
so grounded in this.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
just nothing that I can see where you come from in life, but you got to see the greatness of God in mine, and it's
Yeah.
just a different walk, a different mentality now, man. I don't know if that
Yeah.
makes sense, but um, when
Yeah.
we were younger, Brian, we used to go on those what are they called, evangel. We used to go to evangelize. We go to the
Yeah.
neighborhood, we knock on the doors, and we had a little pamphlet. We had to walk through what we say to them, and
Yeah.
I was like, go knock on that door. I'm sitting going, my name is Brando Haskins. Like, I think about that kid Russell from Up. My name is
Yeah.
Brando.
Yeah. Yeah.
Christ, and then, hey, I'm a wilderness kid, and I really need to get a badge from my. If you know Jesus, accept, believe, and confess, and they're like, close the door. And so, like, now it's such more of a real experience with me. I'm glad for those experiences to open my mind, but it's now like, do you know God? Are you grounded in your faith? It's just a different
Yeah.
walk. So the Russell from Up is how I used to be on the road, man. 8 in the morning, no breakfast. What you doing? I need to go back to pastor. It was 8 in the morning.
Right.
I'm a 12-year-old kid. I can't have a donut. I can't have
Nothing.
a breakfast burrito, my brother. He's like, no, we're fasting. I'm like, I'm 12. I can't fast. I need a
Yeah.
donut. Man, come on, bro.
Nothing, right? Need energy.
And we walk 3 miles. I'm like, three
Yeah.
miles? Oh
Yeah.
man, Cujo Street? Come on,
Yeah.
man.
Passing right by the 7-Eleven, like, oh, wow. Uh,
That was a pattern walking. I'm like, we can't make a detour to get a slushy. I remember my mom. I told this to you before. When my mom first got us on fasting, every morning before we go to church, at the old building, Brian, it was by that. It was off of Inez, and you go by that donut shop. My mom would
yeah.
stop, get us a donut, a
Yeah.
drink, and we go to church. We sit in the car, smash them in our mouth, and then we
Yeah.
go to church. And one day we're driving, and she didn't go to the donut shop. I was like, "Hey, where did you fasting?" I'm like, "Oh man,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
started today."
Right. Should have
Started
saved that donut from my man.
Spirit didn't tell me that. I don't know. You speaking for yourself. God should get me a sprinkled top right there. I need to get me a sprinkled dough right now. I'm not feeling that in my spirit, Mom.
Yeah, he didn't tell you.
So then what you doing? You sitting in church trying to work with your friends. Who got the mints? Who got the mints? Who got the
Right?
strawberry?
Yeah.
Trying to eat up, trying to stay nutritious.
Man, that's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Oh man. But it built a callus. I can go all day now, man. I'm good now. But
There you go.
my
God,
goodness.
yeah.
About that. That was traumatizing for me, Brian.
That's
Traumatizing.
yeah. It's funny. Good things. But yeah, thank you again for
Sir.
gracing us with your presence. It's always a blessing being able to sit down and chop it up with you and just talk about some real things and matters of the heart. And greatly appreciate you. Much
No, man.
love and respect.
Thank you, Brian, for being patient with me, man, and also reaching out to me, man. God's been good to me, bro. I've been given a lot of accolades and a lot of um, it's been a great year for my career, man, but also a great year for my family, a great season to redefine and find myself in God, man. And so I thank you for having this talk. It's kind of allowed me to unpack a little bit of that, man, and just talk man to man about it. Um, and have that conversation with you, man. So I always appreciate this, man. You let me know anytime it's time to check into Brian's place, man. I'll be there with a bunk cake. You know what I'm saying? Ready to hang. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you need, we can hang
Yeah,
out, man. Always have these conversations, man. I truly enjoy it. It's a lot of fun, man. A lot of fun.
definitely appreciate that.
Oh yeah.
Well, everyone, thank you. Thank you again for tuning in. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you've been blessed. As always, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And just how it is when you see a movie the second time, sometimes you see things you didn't see the first time. Feel free to watch this over and over again. Jules nuggets were dropped, and just have a blessed, enjoyable time. And thank you, as always, for rocking and rolling with me. As always, this is BDP, Brian David Porter, still living in purpose, on purpose, intentionally. Until next time, y'all be blessed.